Why do certain places, certain dreams, certain songs evoke in you an inexplicable longing for something you don't even know if you experienced? What if I told you that there is a dormant memory within you, an ancestral recollection of a lost civilization, so ancient and so pure that your own heart still echoes the sound of its vibrations? That place is Lemuria. Even before the myths of Atlantis arose, Earth was home to a luminous society, deeply connected to the soul of nature and the secret rhythms of the universe. A people who did not speak with words, but with their souls. Who did not build with stones, but with frequency and pure intention. They did not conquer. They danced in harmony with all that existed. For centuries, fragments of this story have been whispered in meditations, visions and dreams, emerging as vague memories of deep waters, hanging gardens, and cities made of light. Today, these whispers are becoming silent cries in the souls of those who feel there is much more than meets the eye. What you are about to discover goes beyond a mere ancient legend. It is a call and invitation to acknowledge that perhaps, just perhaps, you lived there, and that the answers you seek for your own spiritual journey may lie dormant within you, waiting to be awakened. But are we truly ready to remember? Do we have the courage to accept that the true story of humanity is far more magical and far more our own than we ever imagined? Now breathe again. Feel something within you. You already know the way. Imagine looking at the vast ocean and feeling, without knowing why, a wave of nostalgia washing over your chest, as if beyond the deep waters there existed a forgotten land, a home your mind doesn't know, but your soul has never forgotten. This is the silent call of Lemuria, a frequency vibrating in the oldest corners of our being. Before the civilizations we know, before pyramids raised their points to the sky or gods were carved in stone, there existed a society that did not need to prove its greatness. Lemuria does not survive in history books, but it remains alive in vivid dreams, in mystical visions, and in the inexplicable longing that some carry since birth. Ancient spiritual masters, shamans and seekers of wisdom claim that Lemuria was the cradle of the first great communion between humanity and earth, a place where there was no separation between the visible and the invisible, where each being was a conscious thread in the living tapestry of the cosmos. They did not need temples to feel God. They themselves were the temples. Could those echoes we feel in moments of silence actually be fragments of a lost existence? And if that feeling of not belonging that so many spiritualists experience is a longing for their true spiritual home, Lemuria, contemporary researchers in the field of consciousness, such as Greg Braden and Joe Spencer, speak of cellular memory, suggesting that ancestral memories and traumas may remain encoded in our DNA. Similarly, ancient mystics claimed that within us lie not only the sorrows but also the glories of our past lives. Could the longing for Lemuria be a genetic memory echoing through the ages? Even more intriguing is the consistent account of mediums and sensitives around the world who, without knowing each other, describe Lemuria in the same way. Lush lands, beings of light, civilizations that communicated through energy, that used crystals as bridges of spiritual connection, that knew the secrets of healing through sound and through vibration. But this is where things get even stranger. Modern science is only beginning to recognize the power of sound and frequency over matter. Semantic experiments demonstrate that specific frequencies create perfect geometric patterns in particles of sand and water. What did the ancient Lemurians know instinctively? Today, we are beginning to rediscover it with the help of technology. Could this forgotten knowledge, now fragmented into practices like Reiki, crystal therapy, and sound meditation, be merely pieces of the vast wisdom that was once natural in Lemuria? Perhaps the reason we feel so drawn to ancestral practices and the pursuit of expanded consciousness is not just a spiritual fad, but a reactivation, a call to return to what we once were, a call to remember that we are part of the earth, the water, the air, the fire, and the ether itself. And then you, the question is, If Lemuria is not just a place lost in time, but a state of being, a frequency, how can we access this sacred memory? Is it possible to reactivate what has lain dormant within us? This question is not answered with words, but with experiences, with small awakenings that begin when we silence the external noise and listen to the subtle song of the heart. Those who heed this call often experience moments of profound emotion without apparent cause, an almost mystical connection with nature, vivid dreams of landscapes they have never seen but which strangely feel as their own. Could these feelings in fact be signs that Lemuria never completely left us? As we walk this journey of remembrance and awakening, something even deeper awaits us in the hidden layers of our spiritual memory. What happens when we let these memories guide us? What revelations could transform our daily lives? The answer may lie in the purest forms of connection, in a kind of wisdom that the modern world still tries in vain to explain. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine a world where trees were not just part of the landscape. They were sisters, silent masters of ancient wisdom, where the ocean was not merely a resource, but a living, pulsating entity, capable of transmitting messages in waves of love and memory. This was the world of Lemuria. While modern societies organize themselves into rigid structures of power and control, Lemuria flourished in organic communion, without oppressive hierarchies, without the need for written laws. Each being was seen as a unique expression of the divine. Each soul had a clear purpose, aligned with the great symphony of life. It is said that the Lemurians lived in total harmony with the energies of the earth and the cosmos, understanding that all matter is, in fact, vibration. Their technology was not based on machines or metals, but on the resonance of frequencies. Today, quantum physics is beginning to decipher these truths, that everything in the universe, even our thoughts, is energy vibrating in specific patterns. In Lemuria, this science was not theoretical. It was the basis of daily life. Imagine cities built not with bricks, but with modulated sounds and lights. Giant crystals served as energy emitters, environmental balancers, and repositories of vibrational knowledge. Plants and minerals were consulted as wise advisors. Important community decisions were made through collective meditative states, where consciousness united to find the best solution for the whole. Communication for them transcended sound. It was done through telepathy, through the sharing of pure emotions, vivid mental images, and vibrations that passed directly through the intellect and touched the heart. But would it still be possible today to access this kind of profound communication? Could our words, so shaped by judgments and misunderstandings, evolve into something purer as it was in Lemuria? Among the Lemurians, healing was a natural process. There were no hospitals or medicines as we know them. Healing occurred through the harmonization of internal frequencies, through the energetic realignment of body and soul. Currently, we see echoes of this wisdom in the emergence of vibrational medicine, crystal therapy, and sound healing, practices that science is still in its infancy in fully understanding. It is impossible not to marvel at the simplicity and grandeur of Lemurian life. They awoke with the sun, greeting the earth, water, fire, air, and spirit every day with genuine gratitude. They respected the cycles of nature as invisible masters. Each phase of the moon, each change of season, was celebrated not as mere tradition, but as a sacred opportunity for alignment and growth. If we live today with this awareness, would our rhythms of life also transform? Could we heal modern anxiety simply by learning to listen to the natural flow of existence? In Lemuria, childhood was considered the most sacred phase of life. Children were seen as fresh bearers of cosmic wisdom. They were educated not to compete, but to remember who they were in essence. Imagine a world where education was based on the flourishing of the soul and not on blind obedience to systems of productivity. Another impressive aspect was the Lemurians' relationship with what we now call dimensional portals. Many accounts indicate that they mastered the art of traveling between dimensions, using the power of intention and frequency. Astral travel, communication with stellar civilizations, encounters with beings from other realities were not fantasy, but a natural part of life. Modern evidence, such as the wormholes hypothesis from theoretical physics, is beginning to suggest that portals between different regions of space-time are, at least theoretically, possible. What is science fiction to us was everyday practice for the Lemurians. But there is an even more fascinating twist. The heart was the true guide. All technologies, all practices, all wisdom depended on a pure heart, vibrating at the frequency of unconditional love. Without love, technology became empty. Without compassion, knowledge was corrupted. And perhaps that is the greatest teaching the Lemurians left us. It's not how much we know that matters, but how much we love. And while our minds try to decipher these realities, a question still softly echoes. If this forgotten wisdom rests within us, what else can we remember before the next great cycle of awakening occurs? In a world governed by harmony, it would be possible to imagine the fall. And yet, even the most enlightened civilizations are touched by the cycles of existence: birth, growth, transformation, and dissolution. So it was with Lemuria. Unlike the violent falls that traditional history tells us, filled with wars, betrayals, and brutal destruction, the fall of Lemuria was a more subtle process, a slow departure from primordial equilibrium, like a harp that gradually loses the tuning of its strings until the music becomes a distant whisper. Ancient spiritual accounts speak of profound vibrational changes on Earth. Density began to intensify. The waters, which were mirrors of the soul, began to stir. Tectonically, the planet underwent gigantic transformations. Volcanoes awakened, land sank, seas surged. But these physical changes were merely the visible manifestation of a deeper energetic imbalance. Could the emergence of other civilizations like Atlantis, with its emphasis on intellect, external technology, and the expansion of power, have destabilized the fragile vibrational fabric of Lemuria? Many mystics believe so, that while Lemuria followed a path of the heart, Atlantis followed a path of the mind, and the clash between these two ways of existing would have created such a strong field of tension that the planet itself could no longer sustain it without drastic changes. Therefore, some say that the fall was not a punishment, but a choice, an act of love and preservation. The wisest Lemurians realized that the Earth's vibration could no longer maintain their way of life. So they prepared to depart. Some migrated to higher dimensions. Others ventured into the depths of the Earth, giving rise to myths about subterranean peoples, such as Telos on Mount Shasta. And many chose to preserve their legacy in an even more ingenious way. Before the final submersion, crystals were programmed with codes of wisdom. Sacred sites were anchored in strategic points on Earth. Places like Hawaii, Easter Island, the Andes, and Australia, energy portals that still vibrate with the memory of Lemuria. But perhaps the most audacious preservation occurred in an even more inaccessible place: human DNA. Recent studies on epigenetics suggest that memories and traumas can be passed down genetically through generations. If this is true, is it so absurd to think that spiritual wisdom was also recorded in our deepest codes? When you feel drawn to crystals, to meditation, to nature rituals, when music of ancestral sounds brings tears to your eyes, it may be that what vibrates within you is not just emotion, but memory. But there is a twist that few dare to consider. What if the fall of Lemuria was planned to be exactly as it was? What if, by fragmenting and scattering its seeds across the world, Lemuria was planting a new possibility for all of humanity? As if it understood that in some distant future, perhaps now, these seeds would awaken, resurface, and bring forth a new cycle of consciousness, stronger, more mature, more luminous. The wisdom of Lemuria never disappeared. It merely hid itself in places where few seek it, in the silence of the soul, in the purity of nature, in the simplicity of loving gestures. Today, as we rediscover practices such as healing meditation, the use of sound frequencies for energetic realignment, and profound reverence for the earth as a living being, we are, in fact, only opening old treasure chests that have always been within us. But this leads us to a troubling question. If the seeds of Lemuria were planted to bloom right now, Are we ready to nurture them? Perhaps the real challenge is not remembering, but living up to the memory that pulsates in our hearts. At some point in history, that which has been forgotten always finds a way to be remembered. And today, something invisible yet undeniable is happening. The call of Lemuria is echoing louder than ever. If you have ever felt that you don't belong in this fast-paced world, that your soul yearns for something purer, more true, know that you may be one of the children of Lemuria awakened in this new era. Mystics, channelers, and scholars of contemporary spirituality point out that we are living through a moment of planetary transition, a leap in consciousness that for many is the reactivation of the dormant Lemurian codes within our essence. This era is not about destroying what exists, but about transmuting, integrating, and raising the collective vibration of humanity. Do you feel a natural affinity with the sea, with crystals, with energy healing practices? Are you moved when contemplating nature, or do you sense a silent wisdom in the winds, the waters, the stones? If so, it is very likely that you carry within you living fragments of Lemuria, fragments that are now beginning to awaken. And this is no coincidence. According to authors such as Dolores Cannon and Matthias de Stefano, many ancient souls made agreements to return precisely at this moment in history. They brought within themselves seeds of love, compassion, ecological awareness, and profound spirituality, not to dominate the world, but to transform it from within, like the blossoming of a flower in an arid field. But are we ready to carry this light in a world that still insists on celebrating darkness? The Lemurian awakening is not about grand external battles. It's about silent battles within the heart, between fear and courage, between separation and unity, between haste and presence. It's about choosing each day to be a living portal for love, even if everything around us says otherwise. Science also points to this change. Research on morphogenetic fields, such as that developed by Rupert Sheldrake, suggests that living beings share a collective memory. This means that by raising our individual vibration, we also help raise the vibration of the whole. It's as if each small act of compassion, each silent meditation, each tear of gratitude released at sunset, feeds an immense energy field that little by little reconstructs the original frequency of Lemuria on Earth. Have you ever stopped to think that your deep desire for a simpler, more connected, more authentic life might not just be a dream, but a memory? Many feel this spontaneously, a desire to leave big cities, to grow their own food, to gather in small, conscious communities. These are echoes of a time when life was not a struggle, but a dance between soul and nature. And the burning question is, are we ready to bring back not only Lemurian practices, but Lemurian consciousness? Perhaps the greatest challenge for the children of Lemuria is not surviving in the modern world, but teaching the world to live again with open hearts, with awakened souls, with feet firmly planted on the earth and heads raised to the stars. Because awakening is not a dramatic event. It's a series of small reminders in the sparkle of a glance, in the warmth of a sincere embrace, in the conscious choice to live with kindness. And as more souls respond to this silent call, the earth begins to quietly transform. What once seemed impossible now begins to germinate like tiny seeds of light amidst the chaos. So listen carefully. When the wind blows on your face, when the water caresses your feet, when an inexplicable emotion arises as you contemplate the vastness of the sky, perhaps it is the lemur whispering that the time has come to remember who you truly are. If you have come this far, take a deep breath and allow yourself to feel. Something within you has changed, hasn't it? Perhaps it's not something the mind can explain. It's more like a silent warmth in the chest, a subtle reminder that you are part of something much bigger, something that official history hasn't yet dared to tell. Lemuria, more than a lost legend, is a mirror reflecting what we can still become. It lives in our acts of kindness, in our thirst for authenticity, in our silent refusal to accept a world disconnected from the soul. And now, more than ever, it calls us to remember. And if that memory could also transform your own life today with the transformative, Success of the ebook. The art of positive thinking. It's time to elevate your mind to a new level. So, if you truly want to change the course of your life, I invite you to discover the playbook, The Power of the Higher Mind. With it, you will learn techniques that the church and secret societies have hidden for centuries. What would you do if you could control your destiny? In addition, you will also receive a secret audio for activating the third eye and a practical guide to divine manifestation, completely free of charge. Click on the first pinned link and take the first step towards creating the reality of your dreams. I see you on the other side. I want to share something personal with you. Once during a trip to a deserted beach, I sat alone, listening only to the sound of the waves. And without understanding why, I began to cry, not from sadness, but from a longing so ancient that it seemed to come from before time. At that moment, I didn't know the name of that longing. Today I know. It was Lemuria within me beckoning, asking to be remembered and speaking of remembering. If you felt this video ignited something within you, don't leave without becoming part of our tribe. Like this video, comment with your impressions. I read everything with a cup of tea in my hand and a crystal in my pocket, I swear. Subscribe to the channel, so you not only support this work, you become an active part of the rebirth of this ancestral consciousness. Oh, and before your soul gets lost again in the hustle and bustle of the world, I want to extend a mysterious invitation to you. 2 videos will appear on the screen. And no, I won't tell you what they're about. I can only say that if you felt the call of Lemuria today, these videos are like hidden keys, ready to open even more doors within your heart. The choice is yours, the memory is yours, and the time is now. Until the next journey, and may the ancient light of Lemuria guide you.